thought
Oh, yeah.
I paused it and I thought I just unpaused it. I pushed a stop instead. So when you get the recording for this Zoom class, it'll be two different ones.
Yep.
Yeah. Sorry about that. All righty. Okay, but we were talking about, I mean, it's so dramatic. They first of all, of course, they have the excellent vocal skills to do all those nuances exactly the way the arranger intended it to be, you know, which was very, oh my gosh, it was so moving. So what do you think about how they started the song with just the lead singing and then adding a part?
Definitely group specific. Like they pulled it off beautifully. It's not something that you'd probably write into an arrangement. It's something that you'd have to get a proper rearrangement of to. Yeah. But they made it work. I think it adds interest because it's a very simple song overall.
Yeah.
So I think it's a way of them adding their own personality to it.
Yeah.
You would not write that in a contest chart for C level because the absence of them often a very, very weak contestable chart beginning.
Yes.
In the middle of a full entertainment package by people who sing at that level, but it's a risk, isn't it?
Yes.
And it'd be quartet only. You wouldn't do that for a chorus even.
Yeah. That'd be really hard for a chorus to do like that. Yeah. But,
so Jean, before we talk more about that, was that an intro or was that going right into the verse? I wasn't quite sure on the form, so that's partly what I'm wondering
answer.
about.
What did you think it was?
Started it.
I thought it was a verse.
Okay.
So you think they started
because of the length?
Right.
So without an intro, did they start right into the verse without an intro?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I. Okay.
Yes, it was very effective, and you can do that. You know, there's a lot of times in a ballad, you can use the verse to start the song because an intro for a ballad is to set up the story, set up what's going to be happening, and in this case, the verse set up the story, which happens a lot, and so not all verses start off with just the lead singing and then adding a part, but yes, it was a verse there. Yeah. And then what was the form of the chorus? Donna, do you still have trouble trying to figure out the form of the?
I did on this one. I put ABAC, but I wasn't at all sure.
That's it. Bingo. Ding, 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 ding. You got it right. Yeah.
Well, okay.
So was that all? So was it whole ABAC before the key change, or was there a key change in the middle of that? I wasn't clear on that.
Let me think a minute. Yeah, I think they did the whole chorus before the key change.
Yeah, it was 32 bars and then the key change.
So there's an entire chorus and then the key change and then a reprise of the chorus. Okay.
Yeah.
I found it hard to follow the form because, well, I'm not that familiar with the song, even though it's the namesake, but because they were so interpretive and expressive. Yeah. Okay.
So when you listen to the first chorus of 32 bars, could you figure out the form for that part? Or was that part confusing to you, where it starts out sweet, when they get to the part they go, sweet Adeline, my Adeline. Could you
it was just tricky because as usual I wasn't sure about the measure counting, whether I was counting in halves or doubles. So I wasn't sure if when the A came back, I thought it was like A, but I think I was hearing AB and then A something else. So that's where I was a little bit not sure if it was half the chorus key change and then the second half of the chorus.
Yeah, I thought.
But you've answered my question now.
Okay.
Actually, I didn't
sort of in the middle.
Bars. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I made that. That's a mistake. I had 8 bars and 8 bars, and then the key change.
Right, that's what I had.
Yeah, right.
Could we listen to just the chorus again?
Yeah. Okay, so before we listen to it again, you know, you have to think about the melody. When I listen for the form of the chorus of the song, it's da 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 da, right? Da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da, 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 da. So it's real obvious the last section is like totally different, right? But did you hear two A's in there? Did you hear two parts of the melody that were the same?
Yeah.
The hard part is, the words, the lyrics can be confusing if you're trying to. I concentrate on a melodic line instead of listening about the words, because of course the words were different. But if you listen to the melodic line, it's not, the sections are not very long, whether you think of it in 4 or 2 or whatever. It was just da 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 da. That was it. And then da 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 da. Similar but not the same exact melody as A. So that's B. And then it goes back to da 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 da. So that's another A. And then totally different da 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 da. Right? Okay. So I'm going to try to pick it up right at the chorus, or maybe a smidge before it. Let's see. I don't know if I can find the exact spot. Let's see. Close.
Heart breathing only.
Okay.
Your own sweetness.
Okay, here it is now.
Sweet Adeline, sweet Adeline, my Adeline. Dear heart, dear heart, for you I'd pine. In all my dreams, your fair face beams. You're the flower of my heart, sweet Adeline.
Okay, that was the whole chorus. All right.
And was that 32 bars?
Actually, if you looked on the paper, yes, probably.
Wow. Okay, so that's part of what's still kind of confusing us, I think.
Okay, yeah.
That
I
sounded much
definitely
shorter
had
than
that as 16. Yeah, it felt like 16 bars.
Well, yeah,
To me.
it's probably in cut time, or I don't know.
Mm.
I haven't looked
Okay.
at that for the longest time, but yeah.
Mm.
So if you count it out, 1, 2,
Mhm.
3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the A. And with the pickup is there. Da da da. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe it is 60. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Was that 16? I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't keeping track. So it was
16.
it's probably in cut time then or something. I don't know.
Okay.
I haven't really looked at it for the longest time,
I just found a copy of the original,
Oh, did you? Oh, good.
not the barbershop arrangement, as in the original, and the
Yeah.
chorus is 8 bars.
Hey. Oh, wow. Okay. So yeah. Well, I still heard the form A, B, A, C. So
Well, they were just getting ready to go into the key change there, weren't they? Right where you stopped?
right.
In C,
right,
yeah. In C,
right.
yep.
Okay, and so then usually when you do a reprise, so they did a key change, and then most arrangements are you do part of the chorus again, and usually it's just like maybe the last half of it or the first half of it. What did they do? Did they do the last half of it or the first half of it, or when they did the reprise? Did anybody notice? We're going to listen to, I'm going to back it up just a smidge, and we'll listen to the key change and then listen to the last part that they do.
All my dreams, your fair face beams.
It's part C.
You're the flower of my heart, sweet Adeline, sweet Adeline.
that's something. So what did they use for the last reprise?
And that was just the whole chorus again, but just fancied up.
Not quite the whole chorus again.
No, they didn't do the whole
I
chorus.
think it.
They didn't do the whole
Second half.
chorus. They did the second half because now I can go by the words and know that it was the second half. That let's see, I'm trying to think. In all my dreams. That's what they. Oh, they did Sweet Adeline. So they did the first A, my Adeline, but then they did You're the Flower of My Heart, and that's part C, right? So they did an A. That's what was so. That was so. I don't know. It was still AC, and since the form was ABAC, they really did the second half AC, but they did the first A. So they did the first section and the last section, which is not always the way you do a reprise. Okay. Usually you do like the last two sections of the chorus again. And, but it was very effective doing it this way. So that's another trick that you should keep in mind, you know, when you're arranging and you go to do the second half, the reprise. Usually it's like the last two sections of the chorus, but in this case, well, it didn't matter. It was still AC because the melody was the same. But why do you suppose they did Sweet Adeline, you know, right after the key change instead of In All My Dreams? Why do you suppose they did Sweet Adeline?
Well, the lyrics more important. The lyric on Adeline.
Yeah.
Better vowel. Yep.
And I think it emphasized, you know, I think it also added dramatic effect because we are Sweet Adelines, you know?
So then form wise, the tag was C?
You're the flower. Yeah, to me, there are two kinds of tags that I have heard on arrangements. One is they finish the song, boom, and then they add the 4 or 8 measure tag. So that's one kind of a tag. Another kind of a tag is they use the end of the song to create the tag. So which kind of a tag was it for this one?
That's what it felt like.
That
it was like the end of
song and they just made it more magnificent all the way through to the end.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they used the ending of the song, you know, for their tag, and it interwove or whatever you call it very well. Very well done. Yes.
But with those voices, like, you know, when the lead sings that really strong Sweet Adeline and then the bass does that really strong, you know, it's just like,
wow. Yes.
Not everybody can do that.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what made this performance so effective. They used they took advantage of every little nuance that the arranger put into the song. And that's a high quality performance. Yeah.
And in addition to all those things you said, they also really agreed on everything. They were very unified. They all agreed on what the interpretation was so that those little subtle things had the power of all of them doing it.
Yes. And even at the beginning, when they started with the lead and then added another part, I mean, it was like they were one in soul.
It
you know?
was seamless.
Yeah.
It was seamless.
Yeah. It's like, wow, that was just incredible. Yeah. And so even all their little echoes, their little embellishments, you know, you could still feel all that emotion in there, and the musical flow was just outstanding. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So that's a something to think about when you are making an arrangement. When you do a reprise, it doesn't always have to be the last two sections of the song, but most of the time it is. But this one worked out only because the A sections were the same melody, of course, and they picked the more dramatic lyric, I think, to make the big finish. Yeah. And that was, wow, that was sensational. But not every, I've heard other quartets sing it, and not always that well. You know, it's like, oh, we're hearing an excellent performance of it. Yes, I get it. But I think it helps our ears. To me, it helps my ear listen to, wow, I could actually, besides it being an incredibly emotional performance, I could actually hear all the nuances that went into this arrangement because of the way they performed it, which was, wow.
And this arrangement is not particularly difficult, is it? On paper.
Say it again.
I would say this arrangement is not particularly difficult on paper, is it?
True, it is not. I mean, it
so
looks
that's
simple note-wise, but you have to have really good vocal skills to pull it off well,
I thought the bass had some pretty rangy jumps in it.
Yes, you are absolutely right. Yeah, let's talk about those different parts and what happened. You're right. The bass was very rangy, and yet she made it sound like, oh, anybody can do this. That's what was so cool about it. But yeah, she had some sweet Adeline. Oh my gosh, they have incredible ranges. Yeah, so that really, really helped a lot. And even when she had like an echo or something with the other three, with the tenor and baritone, sweet Adeline, she made that so musical, not just I am the bass. It was very well. The arrangement is her embellishment was a very melodic anyway, created that way, and then she made it even. I noticed that more because of the way they performed it. Yeah. Good
Jean, do you know
observation.
whose arrangement it is? Because I can't find it anywhere.
No, I don't. But I'm sure we can find out. Yep. I will ask that question.
Because they usually, I've heard them talk before about this, they would usually get customs or custom edits to arrangements.
Yeah.
And provide the arrangers with their ranges, their sweet spots, who wanted to post in which range. They were really prescriptive, and that was what they did prior to international. So I'm wondering if this was one of those.
Well, actually, I've heard this exact arrangement sung by Panache. I don't know if you're all too young. Panache were international champions way back. I don't know, long time ago, and I believe it was the same arrangement.
The same one.
So it might have been David Briner. I don't know for sure. I'd have to look it up, but it might be because I've heard that before. Yeah, and actually I've heard like the Ritz. I'll have to look on my album somewhere. I can find it. I think the Ritz sang. They did the same thing, starting with the lead and doing that. So
yeah, same one. Okay.
So maybe that it might be David Briner. I'll try to let me write that down so I don't forget to ask about that in a minute.
Yeah, because it's not on Sweet Adeline's international sales. They've got another arrangement.
Right. Okay. But I know that it wasn't made just for them because I heard Panache sing it, and it might have been made just for Panache. There we go. All right, and I'll try to find that out for you. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about some of the things in here, which we already talked about the form. We've got it figured out now, right? And so the tag was really where, pretty short tag. The tag was right where the bass did the sweet Adeline, sweet Adeline. That was the tag, like 2 measures long or something. Yeah. So unusual. This song did not have an intro, right? And it had a very short tag. And if you have you read the judging category description booklet. Have you read the entire thing about the music category?
I did this week.
Yay! Because if you haven't, you should go read it. Read what all the requirements are. Because actually in there it says the only requirement that you need is a chorus. Got to have a chorus of the song, all right? And so that's why you could be at liberty with having an intro or not having an intro, or using the verse as the intro or not using the verse as the intro. Yeah. So so interesting stuff in there of guidelines that help with you too. Let's see, what else can we talk about? The perfect
Climax.
Sure. I think we hit all the things about the parts, right? I'm going down the list to make sure we don't skip anything. Yeah.
Yeah, they had quite a few nice duets and trios.
Yes.
They were really nice, and kept the flow going really well. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when it went from this part to that part to that part. It's like, whoa.
I found the key change hard to follow. Was it an early key change? It felt like the key change happened earlier. It's hard. Did the key change happen sort of, I don't know, I'd have to look at the music to see how it's written out, but to me it sounded like they were already in the new key in the lead up to the new key.
You're right. They were.
So
every key change has a pivot chord.
Yeah.
Do you understand about pivot chords? I don't know who all knows about pivot chords. There's a chord that works in the old key and pivots it into the new key. So actually the key change really happened on line of Adeline. You are the flower. I will go back and listen to that once more, but it happened at, you're the flower of my heart, sweet Adeline, was in the old key, Adeline. That was the new key when they did that second line. And then, well, no, that's still a pivot. Let me think a minute. It still was the 5/7 of the new key. Yeah. No, I think it did still happen on sweet. So, the only difference was that she went sweet Adeline instead of sweet Adeline. I always think of the reprise as theme and variation. Have you ever listened to an orchestra piece of theme and variation, and how the second time around they make it so fancy? That's what I think of when I listen to barbershop music and they do a key change, and the second time around you can still hear that the melody's in there, but they make it fancy and change it up, right? Let's go back and listen to that key change just one more time. Let's see if I can find it here.
You're the flower of my heart, sweet Adeline.
Sorry about that.
Nightingale, sweet Adeline, in all my dreams, your fair face beams. You're the flower of my heart, sweet Adeline, sweet Adeline, my.
Okay, so Emily, what did you hear? I still heard the 5/7. Flower of my heart, sweet Adeline is the old key. And then they go to ba, which is like the 5/7 of the next key.
Can we listen again?
Yeah. Now that I found it.
All my dreams, your fair face beams. You're the flower of my heart, sweet Adeline.
I feel like I think it's a performance thing. I think they were anticipating the key change and they were tuning up too early. I understand what you mean about the normal key change. That'll make sense.
Yeah.
But the first time I listened to this, I was like, oh, they're going to do a key change. And it chord wise, it hadn't actually done anything yet. I think they're pumping. I think they're putting their energy up to ramp up to the key change.
Good thoughts. How about the rest of you? What do you think?
I felt like the line was the pivot chord, like you said.
Yeah. And I think if they would have line at a line, sweet at a line, if they did the regular sweet at a line instead of sweet at a line.
Right.
I think that's what throws off your ear. That made it sound like, oh, but they were actually in that new key when they did sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's listen to that once more, then we'll be done with this part here. See if I can find it.
Dreams, your fair face beams. You're the flower of my heart, sweet Adeline, sweet Adeline.
Yeah, sweet line is where the key change.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty classic transition to the 5/7 of the new key, and then they remain in that for almost a full bar before resolving into.
Yes, which is
into
unusual.
one.
You don't usually stretch that for all that time, but very effective.
Tension, really.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, just fabulous. Yeah.
I just can't find the dots. It's an arrangement by Gia Lombardo.
Oh, J.G. Lombardo. Okay. Oh. All righty. Cool.
It's very difficult to Google Sweet Adeline sheet music because it comes up with every chart Sweet Adelines have ever done rather than the song.
Yes. So that's what I do. I contact the group and say, whose arrangement was that? Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah.
That was your panache that was the clue that got me there.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, apparently it's been around for 30 years, this arrangement, and with the same layer and intro, as you said.
Yep. Because I've heard some men champions sing it also. Yeah. So, yeah. Okay. Wow. Cool. Good to know. But that's interesting way to think about a key change like that. Very dramatic, and it wouldn't work in every kind of song. But just remember that little trick in the back. Put it in your bag of tricks, because there may be a time when you could use that same kind of concept,
Sorry, I'm going to have to go now.
Oh,
That's all. I'll catch up on the video.
Okay, we pretty much covered a lot of it, so I'm glad for that. And we're all set with the next dates, right? It's October 21st, right? I believe. But
Yes.
I'll send out an email about all of that, and I'll make sure to send out all the Judy arrangement, fixes. All right. So we'll see. Oh, she froze already. Bye, Liz.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
bye,
I'm just
Liz.
checking 21st. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
We just have a little bit left here to talk about the rest of this.
Can I please ask about the unison on my? And when I first heard it, I thought it was a 2-part chord, and then I realized I'm probably hearing a harmonic. Is it a unison on my? Okay, that really confused me. I was like, why is one person singing the third? No, just there.
Yeah, that's awesome. That means they really know how to ring a chord. That to have all their voices in the same vowel shape at the same time to create that overtone is incredible. Yeah.
Can you speak quickly
unison?
It actually
was what I'm
wasn't.
asking.
It wasn't.
I'm
I
asking.
don't think it-
Oh,
no, wait. No, it wasn't.
My,
I
I
was
think it
thinking
was
the
my.
same thing,
I think it was
Abby,
my.
but I'm pretty sure it was a 2-note.
so you think there was 2 notes in the chord?
Oh my gosh.
I think
you know what?
so.
I'm gonna go listen.
I
Well, this
remember
is what I'm
thinking
not
the
sure
same
about.
thing.
I think it might have been an octave,
Well, that's what
an octave spread, but
listen to.
I thought it was all the same, essentially the same note.
Dreams. You're the flower of my heart, sweet Adeline, sweet Adeline,
Oh, they did a chord. They did a triad. Mama.
So,
Oh wow.
so what is it?
Oh, let me listen again. Did you hear 3 notes? I heard my, and I heard da note, and I heard. Well, I definitely heard da. That one.
I heard octave and fifth. I'm not sure that I heard the third.
Yeah, that might have been it. Yeah.
Probably just a triad, yeah.
Yeah.
Adeline, my
I heard somebody singing my Adeline. Wow, interesting.
So it is a high. So it's an octave 3/5.
I think it's a triad.
my heart, sweet Adeline, sweet Adeline, my.
I heard this note and this note and this note.
Yeah, it's just a high triad with a doubled tonic.
Yep.
So
It's
it
just
must have
sweet
been a very.
relief after all of the
Must have just-
movement and chord complexity. Yeah.
Okay, so it
Ah,
must have just been a very strong tonic that I've stood out more than. Okay, so it's not a unison. Okay,
wow.
that's very
because
hard to hear that.
my chorus sang Sweet Adeline, not this arrangement, but and when we got to my, it was a unison. My Adeline.
Oh, it was.
But, yeah. So but it's like wow. So I don't think it was all a unison that they created those overtones. I think they just plain old sang a triad. Yeah. Wow, very effective.
So Jean, in your sheet music, it was a unison.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Maybe they did that as like a little.
Yeah, just
Maybe they did that to change the unison to something more interesting, but maybe they tweaked the balance so it sounded like
yeah.
they were faking an overtone.
I know, because I've heard choruses that do that. They pick people in their chorus to sing the
Yeah,
overtone.
to do that.
Yeah, but I don't know. I could do that in a quartet. It's like, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Wow. I just never even noticed that before. I just assumed because our chorus sang it that way. Yeah. Never assume. I wonder if it says something like that about the key change in here. Let's see. Oh, that doesn't say about the key change. Okay. Cool. All right. So we talked about how incredible all 4 voices are to make that. Wow. Sweet Adeline. That was cool too. Let's see. I want to make sure. So where was the climax in this song?
On the key change?
Oh, see, I think that too. I think of the Sweet Adeline.
Sung beautifully by Heather.
Yeah. Although this thing, see, I don't agree with it.
I put heart, but I probably wasn't listening that far back. I always assume it's near the end.
My heart. Oh, that's a good climax too.
That's what I put. The second time they said, "You're the flower of my heart."
Yeah.
Probably in the arrangement. Probably the arranged climax is that, but the performers changed it to the A of Adeline.
Yeah, that very well could be. And to me, there's another climax that Sweet Adeline. That was one too when they did the ending. So it's like, oh, we got multiple climaxes here. I think.
Is that good?
Done.
Is it good?
Wow.
Is it good to have that many climaxes?
Well, you have to have a group that can pull it off. Yeah. So it really has, several high points in the song. So I'm sure if you got a room full of music judges, they would be arguing of, I think it's this one. I think it's this. I think it's. Yeah. Wow. Pretty amazing. Let's see what else. I think we covered everything.
The forward motion. Well, it's just all the embellishments. It's just so seamless and tapestry woven. Echoes, phrase endings, bass pickups, it weaves right through.
Yes. That's a high level skill of singers that can do that and make it sound like that. And I'm sure the arranger's like, oh, this is just how I pictured it should sound, my chorus in my head, Yeah. Yeah, wow. And they certainly know how to milk it and make it barbershoppy. Yeah.
The strongest element?
Yeah, what do you say it would be?
This is one that's hard to distinguish the arrangement from the performance. So performance-wise, no dead spaces, solid texture throughout, good voicing. But I don't know how much of that is vocal skills versus arrangement. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah. What do you think, Donna?
I didn't know what to put for that one. I felt like, and nobody has expressed this, but when the lead and the bass at those two different times came out so strong, I almost felt like they sounded forced, like it was just too much back in their throat and a little jarring to me.
Okay. That could have been the recording of it or the volume on your computer. Or
that's true.
It's hard to know because I know when you're listening to it live, it gives you a different kind of feeling. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't think when they got the dynamic was stronger, but it didn't feel strained or pinched or tension to it. But you just thought it was like back like this, huh?
Right.
Sometimes because we're getting the mic'd sound, it's then compressed, whereas it sounds different in the room and in the pit.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more an audio compression issue. Well, for these top level groups, it's usually more of an audio.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, a lower level now that probably would be a different story. Yeah. So what's the strongest element do you think of this song?
Bass pickups. Bass showcase for this group. In terms of aligning the performers with the arrangement, it's real strength because they, of course, had an incredible bass. So to be able to showcase that so beautifully in such an otherwise beautifully written chart, which is strong in terms of voicing and voice leading.
There you go. Exactly. Very strong barbershop.
So maybe we could say suitability to performance. Maybe we could say this. Sorry, it's freezing. Sorry.
Somebody say something.
What did you say, Abby? You cut out.
Sorry, I'm getting a bit of cut out. I would say, so maybe the strongest element is the suitability to the performer, that it kind of goes both ways. Like the arrangement was well chosen for the group and the group interpreted it to the best to showcase their own abilities. I don't know if that's the strongest element of the arrangement, but probably of this performance, that's probably what.
Yeah, very strong performance. But when you think about the chart, think about the arrangement of it. What do you
solid
suppose?
Barbershop?
Bingo.
That is the strongest element.
Bingo.
Of this arrangement.
Exactly. Very strong barbershop. Yeah. So when you're listening to your own arrangements, what I've noticed, especially the stuff we just did last night, what I've noticed is there are spots that you have very strong barbershop. And then there are other spots that, well, it's kind of okay, but it's not really strong barbershop, and some of that is inherited in the piece of music. But there are still some places where you could probably choose stronger barbershop chords, stronger chording than what you chose for those particular spots. So be thinking about that. Go back and listen to this strong barbershop and get that sound in your head, in your ears and stuff. Then go back and listen to your stuff. Oh, I can hear a strong barbershop. Oh, I can hear, oh, well, I guess not right there, because that's something you can use to help strengthen some of the spots in your arrangements. So anything else we want to say about this before we finish here? I'll tell you, it's fascinating stuff, and I would go back and listen for those little things, and I do that. I mean, it's so much easier to do now. Back when I started arranging, back in the 1800s or whatever it was, we didn't have all these YouTube performances that you could go listen to. You'd hear it at contests and go, oh, I want to hear that again. Well, believe it or not, I have a lot of LPs, old records that have that on. But it's so nice to be able to jump on YouTube and hear it and listen to it again and again and again. What makes that so awesome? What makes that, like that when we thought it was a unison, but it really was a triad. I was like, whoa, that was mind blowing. I didn't pay attention to that. Yeah. So good thing to be able to do. Yeah. So now, are we clear on what the next assignment is for October 21st?
Could you please reiterate and also please give us a due date for submission?
Yes. Let me look. I think Judy and I talked about that. So our next meeting together is October 21st, right? So is there any way, and what we're doing is putting your whole Down on the Farm together, right? That's the assignment, with an intro if you prefer, and are you going to do chorus and then verse and then chorus, or verse and then chorus? It's your decision, and a tag. So we're completing the whole song, right? So is there any way you could turn it in, say, like by October 12th or sometime that week? Which is like, that's pretty close.
That's pretty close.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if you'd already been working on it or not. You seem to work ahead, so I didn't know if you've already got it done or.
Well, we did get the extra duty assignment that we didn't know was going to happen. So we were working ahead, but then we.
Yeah.
All right. I've worked on it some, but.
Okay.
Yeah,
How about by Friday the 14th or something? What I'm discovering is, just turn it in by the Monday before. But when Judy and I, our schedules, we have trouble meeting, and sometimes we're not meeting about it till Thursday, which is too late, to get it presented for Friday. So I was hoping we could turn it a little sooner. So maybe by the 14th or the 15th.
Okay.
And if you can't do it till the 17th, then yeah, okay. But
okay, so I have some questions about this.
Okay.
So the verse has 16 bars and the chorus has 16 bars. As it was presented to us. So, but we need 32 bars in a chorus. So we're going to double up the chorus and do a variation or something like that. Is that how we make that work?
Nah, I would just leave it. That's the form of that song. I would just leave it that way. The way you make it longer is you're going to maybe do a reprise and do part of the chorus again. But I
just
wouldn't
like
worry.
Sweet Adeline, 16-bar chorus.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about, trying to make it 32 when it's truly only 16. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Right. Any other questions about that? Even if we had one or two of you that turned it in on the 14th, we could at least start working on those two, while we're waiting for the others. I'll send out an email, and when I send out the recording, the YouTube link for this session, that'll, put the due dates in and stuff. Okay. Now, we have not picked any dates past October 21st. Is that true?
Correct.
All
If
right,
not,
so
Yeah,
do you want to do that, or do you want to wait since 2 people are missing, or?
I think we better wait,
Yeah.
given how busy calendars are around
Yeah.
November, December.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. I
Because we
hope
might
it says
we might
that.
not get through everybody's down on the farm in one session.
You're right. It'll take a while.
Hmm.
Yeah. hmm Yeah.
And then
So,
we've got one lesson after that, right? Before being finished.
right. So let me ask you this. So we did something different with this cohort group than we did the one before, the one about Judy, giving you suggestions and stuff. And so was that helpful to see a different way of doing?
Oh, you mean like from last night?
Yeah, from last night. Was
Oh.
that helpful, or do you
Oh,
feel?
brilliant.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, yeah, and because now, we also, what I also would like to see that we didn't do with the other group is say like when we go over down on the farm, we'll go over some of this stuff with you, but I would like to say, go back and rework measures 2 through 8, or you go back and make this stronger barbershop, and then and not give you the ideas, but give it to you to rework those spots after having
Right.
the lesson we had last night with showing some other ideas. We would like to see what other ideas could you do if we see a spot in the music that this is okay, but it could be stronger. Could be stronger
Right.
barbershop, or it could,
That would be good.
yeah. Okay, because I think that would be helpful in your final analysis piece that you have to do. I think it would give you more confidence. Yeah.
So you
Oh,
think
and-
maybe we'll submit it in a few weeks. We'll look at it together in a few weeks. And then our homework would actually be to revise down on
Yes,
the farm
yes,
with your notes. That's
perhaps.
probably smarter than just moving on from it. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I think that would be very helpful. And
Okay.
I also just received I received it in beginning of September, an email that has a copy of the evaluation sheet that they use to evaluate you when you're done with the intermediate cohort to see how you're doing. And it's also the same evaluation sheet that they use when you apply for a scholarship. So I'm going to send a copy of that in this next email that I send out with the Zoom, recording link and stuff. So it's something you can look at to see what they're, and then we'll talk about it at our next thing. But it'll help you know what they're looking for to evaluate you. Okay. All righty. So anything else you can think of? All right. Well, everybody stay safe. We're past the hurricanes, thank goodness.
Good.
Internet's a little better tonight, thank goodness.
Yes.
Oh, crazy times, yeah.
Crazy
All
times.
right. All right, so we'll see you on the 21st then, okay?
Bye-bye.
All right.
Thank you, Jean.
Thanks, Jean.
Good night. Thank you a
Bye.
lot.
Good job tonight.
Bye-bye.
Bye.